Before we get any further into this video, let's get a couple of things out of the way. First, if you want to listen to this song or watch this video in whole without my commentary, then go do that. This is not the place for that. This is a reaction and analysis video. We're here for a conversation, not for a watch party. I'm going to be stopping this video, talking over certain parts, and replaying certain parts, so get used to it. Second, my analysis is my opinion. My opinion comes from a place of knowledge. I have over 30 years of musical training and experience, 20 years as a professional musician and producer, and almost 10 years as a video producer and director. I know what I'm talking about. All that being said, we will be discussing the performance of the song by the musicians, production of the song by the producer, and production of the video, should that apply, by the director and anyone else involved. Now, I return you to your regularly scheduled reaction video. Thanks, nerds. Our next reaction is going to change the conversation kind of considerably because it's Lorna Shore. So, Lorna Shore, where are we? Lorna Shore is kind of the heavy music darling right now. Lorna Shore put out that Into the Hellfire song with their new vocalist, and the heavy community kind of lost their collective minds. Well, I dig it. Like, it's not a bad tune. The breakdown really is pretty freaking epic. But, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get into this conversation throughout this video. This is And I Return to Nothingness. The drum replacements that happen in the Into the Hellfire song are a little egregious. So, I have actually, we'll get into history with the band. Lorna Shore is a band that I have been at least kind of aware of for some time. I found the... Oh, I can't remember the name of the single. There was a single that they put out before they got the new vocalist, and the name of it escapes me at the moment. Either way, it was great. It's some blackened deathcore that I feel like is refreshing in modern aggressive music, and Lorna Shore is one of my preferred new bands when it comes to the new stuff. What was going on there? Something happened, technical speaking, on this side. Either way, so I felt like they were kind of a breath of fresh air. Some stuff went down with that vocalist. They had to go through another lineup change, and didn't know what to expect of the new guy, but that wasn't the thing that I thought was the biggest departure. I'm pretty sure, and I would have to go back and listen to it because I haven't listened to that other single in a long time at this point, but from that record to this most recent record, it sounds like they did a lot more drum replacement, and again, we'll get into that in a minute, but so I'm expecting, history with the band. That's my history with the band. That's what I know of them. This is their third vocalist. I do know that, and took them a while to get as big as they are. But now they're one of the biggest deathcore bands out there. So, congratulations to them. I think that Into the Hellfire song, the video for it has like 7 million plays or something like that, which is pretty big for aggressive music. So again, congratulations to the band. So expectations for this track as we trade scenes. Expectations for this track. I expect that we're going to get into the drum replacement conversation, and the production is going to be, the audio production is going to be something to pick apart. As far as video production, I don't expect there to be anything crazy. They do have a pretty solid visual style that they've done with their previous videos, so probably going to continue in that same vein of things. but I expect it to be heavy deathcore, blackened deathcore, if you will. And yeah, we're really probably going to talk a lot about the drums. So that being said, let's get into And I Return to Nothingness. Very cyberpunky kind of visual style. That's new. There's that blackened element. Yep, there it is. Okay. Like we apparently do most times, we are, 42 seconds into the video, but only like 13, 14 seconds into the actual song. Listen to the kick drum, because there is no human drummer on the face of this earth that is that even with their hits, especially when they are that close together. So the speed at which this happens, there should be a lot more variance in the quality of tone that you're hearing from the kick drum. But there's not, because what they have done is what is called drum replacement. So you take the transient, so when you're looking at a wave, the actual audio wave that is created with the on the recording, you get transients. Transients are when the audio spikes, right? So that's a transient. So kick drum is effectively all transients to varying degrees. They're not all going to be the same level of spike, but they are all going to be a unique spike. So what they do with the drum replacement is they take, and pretty much all drums, save for the cymbals, are basically just transients. So you can do this with any drum with a face, with a head. So with skin, effectively, the surface that you hit with a mallet, it's not metal, because that's all it is a transient, and then it rings. The kick drum is the most notoriously replaced drum on the kit, because, especially in aggressive music, it is the driving force of the song. So if you don't have a drummer who can do that regular, it doesn't have to be exactly the same from hit to hit, but if it's not similar enough that it continues that driving force, then some producers and some bands prefer it this way, which I don't understand. You'll take that transient that the kick creates, use that as a trigger that then triggers a digital drum that then replaces any of the subsequent ring that is created from your drum kick. You can do this live, which is another thing that kind of upsets me about this kind of soulless production, is it's actually relatively easy to do live if you've got the right equipment. But it takes away the feel of the song. If you listen to Eyeless by Slipknot, and you hear the little drum solo that Joey Jordison has in the middle of that song right before they kick into the "Only One of Us Walks Away," it kind of sounds like he's falling down the stairs, and there's all of this really awkward timing and really awkward pitchy kind of drum noise that kind of is the embodiment of feel when it comes to drums. When you replace everything, and then, or what they do first is they quantize it. So they put everything on a grid, and then once it's on the grid and it's in perfect sync with everything else, they then do the drum replacement. So it's totally not human. There's no error. There's no feel. And I think that is the issue that people like myself have when you do drum replacement like this, is it removes the human element to the drums. And if it's the heartbeat of the song, if it's the thing that drives your music, and it's not human, it's harder to relate to. So yeah, that's kind of my little soapbox about drum replacement, and let's get back into the song. I think it's interesting to sorry, 2 seconds into it and then we're stopping already. So, but we're talking about guitars this time. Guitars and actually synths, because these guys have synths. In this intro sequence, they're obviously playing the guitars as evidenced by the video, but like you don't really hear those guitars because the synths are so overpowering. Why even have guitars present if you can't hear them, I think is probably a fair question to ask there. I know it sounds like I'm really ripping on these guys, but I do like Lorna Shore. So let's go back and listen to that a little bit, because so you're listening to two things. You're listening to the kick drum, you're listening to how fake it is and how soulless that makes it feel. And then you're also listening to the layering of the synths over the guitars and how overpowering they are, to the point where you really can't hear the guitars. So we'll go, oops, that was probably a little too far. Nope, we're good. And even here, I feel like the guitars are too far down in the mix. I really dig his voice, though. That's like some neo thrash almost that those guys are playing, but the synths are so overpowering. So when we're talking about the Meshuggah mix and how they brought the lead underneath everything in the mix and it gave it atmosphere, this is the exact opposite. So when you have a synth a sonic layout like this where your synths are part of it, you want those synths to be buried in that mix because it makes everything else feel that much bigger. And I feel like they didn't execute that at all. I feel like the synths are just the focus, even over the vocals, which is a very strange audio choice as well. It's really awesome when you can play that fast and still have a groove, though. It's really funny. Finn McKinty would say this is black metaling in the forest, and that's really what this is. Listen now to the vocal. The vocal style is as such that it's hard to decipher the words, the lyrics, but you can still hear the dynamics of the vocal, and you can also hear the production on the vocal because we have a fair amount of verb going on here, which is something that not a lot of producers do on an extreme vocal like this. You get a little chorus from time to time just to kind of widen it out, and some stereo widening, sure, but verb not as much. Usually verb is reserved for harmonic or harmony style melody, I guess is the word I was looking for, melody style vocals. So when you hit something more melodic, that's usually where the verb kicks in, because it has a tendency to broaden melodic tone as well as hide little vocal imperfections. which isn't really something you're concerned with on an extreme style of vocal like this. So it's very interesting that they went with that much verb. But it works, and that's the thing that I think is very interesting about it, is while it's not advised, it's all theory, man. So you can go against theory as long as you do it right. You can pull it off, and I feel like they pulled it off pretty well. We finally are to a point where the synths are underneath the guitar. Why did it take almost halfway through the song to do that? Ooh, hey, we're gonna go back to that. All right, so we have this breakdown here. You can hear the difference between what's going on the toms, the rest of the headed portions of the drums, and what's going on with the kick drum. So the kick drum always sounds alien. The toms and things sound like they have been quantized, but they have not been replaced. So there's still an element of humanity to them. So that's a very interesting choice to have made as well. So we're going to go back a little bit and listen to that again. Too far. Right here. Do-do-do-do. It almost sounds too like in those sections they don't replace the kick when it's going with the toms. The snare's not replaced, just the kick is. Ooh. So now we have a new sonic situation in the solo, being as they still have those synths. While they did kind of course correct there for a minute throughout the middle section of the song, they're back to having the synths a little too high in the mix, and underneath this solo, they're competing for the same sonic territory, which is distracting. Like, which one are you supposed to be listening to, the synths or the lead? That doesn't make any sense. That does not make any sense. The synths started to go away halfway through the solo. Go back. So here they're too high. And they're gradually coming down into this spot where they're it's like that snare pop was the cue to bring those synths down out of the mix so that they're not distracting anymore. Why not have them like that throughout the entire solo? Right here. Oh, wait, no, sorry. That. There's a noticeable volume change on those synths. There's a whole lot of weird production choices going on here. Now we just lost the guitars again. And it's all drums and synth. And he's playing his guitar with such fervor. Like the general dynamics kind of work, but they could be so much more effective with a better producer behind this. Again, very interesting video. That's... Huh. All right, so that was... that was Lorna Shore, and I returned to Nothingness. Like I still dig Lorna Shore. I still dig what they do, but I feel like they could have a better producer. Like there is a better way to get that sound. Actually, to get a better sound, there's a lot more that can be done with what they have. So I don't know. Yeah, there you go. That's what we got. So thank you very much, nerds. I think we're done with the stream at this point. We're at 2 hours deep. Unable to connect to chat. Uh-oh. Stream has been stopped because we detected... yeah, that's what I thought. All right, so you are listening to this in post. And... we will just have to deal with the copyright stuff later. Anyway, thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. We will see you in the next regularly scheduled episode next Wednesday. But there will not be a live episode once again at next Friday because I will be at the day job. So thank you for joining me, those that did. And thank you for joining me in the... post, those that are going to, and we'll see in the next one. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.